Mater misericordiae,
The first reading of today from the book of Wisdom is so rich that it is something that every Christian needs to know in order not to have an unrealistic expectation from the world. There is an unending conflict, if we can put it that way, between light and darkness. If you live your life in the dark, you are going to be popular among people who also live in the dark. But if you are a child of light and you want to live as a child of light, and you are surrounded by people who love darkness, you cannot at the same time be popular. They are going to persecute you. They are going to accuse you wrongly. They are going to do all kinds of things against you falsely on the account of your choice of life. And this truth I have espoused now is what happened and it came to its zenith in the life of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who is light from light. Because already as a child, as a baby, he rattled the king Herod, so much so that Herod ordered his soldiers to kill the boys, the male babies, to ensure that he eliminated a baby who had done nothing to him. Herod was the epitome of darkness, and Jesus is light from light. Up to today, my dear brothers and sisters, there are followers of Herod, those who would like to destroy their enemies, real or imaginary, who would like to kill and destroy those whom they think has become a block, a stumbling block to them in achieving their ideas, their wishes, which often emanate from the father of lies, the devil himself. Therefore, if you are a Christian and you live as a Christian and you walk among people who are very dishonest, and you try to live your life in complete honesty and dedication, you are not going to be popular. They are going to hate you. They are going to lie against you. They are going to do all kinds of things to bring you down. This is the truth, and it happens to people everywhere in the world. But the shocking part of what I'm saying is that this thing that happens outside the church unfortunately also happens within the church. That is why the letter of St. James, which we have read this morning, talks very seriously and tells us what brings about envy. Envy. When I hear the word envy, I think about the story of two brothers, Cain and Abel. Both of them offered to God, and God accepted the gift of Abel because it was sincere, it was a good offer. And his brother was filled with envy and murdered his younger brother. It makes me remember the story of Joseph. Their father loved Joseph, but they were full of envy. And we know the story very well. It makes me to remember many events in the lives of known Christians, the people we call saints. How people, even among the children, chosen people, have persecuted these people because their own lives as a whole is a lie. But what is frightening, and that is why I'm worried, is that such a thing can happen even in our parish. And we've seen signs of this when people come to Mass and there are empty seats everywhere, and they are reluctant to sit near certain people because they do not want to exchange the kiss of peace with them. When the priest says, "Let us give each other the sign of peace," The problem is, how can I give the sign of peace to this person? And therefore, I will never sit near him or near her. The assignment we should have today is to take these texts and sit down before God who sees everything and ask ourselves, am I envious? The 10th commandment is about envy. You should not be envious of what others have. The 9th commandment is like that. You do not be envious of another person's husband or another person's wife. Am I envious? Am I contented with what I have? Or am I angry because of what others have? In the gospel reading, we see 2 ways to follow Jesus. And these 2 ways are demonstrated in the lives of his first followers, the apostles. Jesus was teaching them about the last thing he must do in order that he might save the world from sin and eternal damnation. And these men were busy arguing among themselves about who was the greatest. They were not arguing about who was supposed to do the best for Jesus because they were ignorant. Apparently, they were following Jesus for the wrong reasons. It was their hope, misguided hope, that Jesus had come as a political leader to use his miraculous powers to destroy the occupation power, the Romans, the colonial masters, and to separate his people and maybe establish himself to be like King David, so that they, who were his followers, could become ministers. And therefore, it was important for them to know who is going to occupy the highest political office in this new kingdom. They did not know that Jesus was talking about saving the world. And this saving the world was to cost him his life. We are Christians, and our vocation is to take the calling of Jesus seriously. And how do we do that? We do that by examining the lives of those who have followed Jesus faithfully. When we look at the lives of saints, including the saints of Sweden, we see how being faithful had cost them many things. St. Bridget of Sweden has written this wonderful prose: Lord, teach me your way and make me willing to go on that way. We can take the example of St. Eric of Sweden, who was murdered for his faith, or St. Lash of Sweden. I'm not talking about saints from other countries. I'm talking about saints from Sweden, this same Sweden. And when you understand what I'm saying, you do not allow anybody to use deceitful ideologies to deceive you. Instead, you allow the Holy Spirit to guide you to follow those who have gone on the way of Christ, the road of Christ, those who lived in the same clime and who were faithful to the teaching of Jesus Christ. I'm not preaching anything new. I'm only reminding you of that which was the lifestyle of the people of Sweden. Therefore, I ask the Holy Spirit to touch your hearts one by one, to open your eyes to this reality, so that the gospel once again will resonate in the hearts of the Swedish people, so that response to the gospel may become the current happening, and that many people will come to faith and therefore to salvation. I får den 26 och den heliga Andes namn.